it's a as I just tweeted a little while ago, it's a very bittersweet day because Chicago is my home. It's where I grew up, and there are a lot of people who are affected by this. But I love Chicago deeply, and the reason I love Chicago so deeply is because when I was a kid, I lived in Chicago for 18 years, and all I really left for was vacations with my family, get in the car and go to an IndyCar race in like Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And I never went to summer camp. I never did anything like that. So I was Chicago through and through. And the only reason I'm the play-by-play announcer, whatever play-by-play announcer you think I am right now, is because I went to Syracuse and I went to a university where this is what people do. And it was the hardest day of my life to that point to get in that car and leave Chicago. And it hurt. And the other day, when I knew that this was very much a distinct possibility, I had the same feeling like, wow, I am getting in the car again and I am going to Syracuse University. And the reason I went to Syracuse is because I wanted to be surrounded by people who loved what I loved at the time. And that was being a student of play by play and being somebody who got to be around people who wanted to be students of play by play and live it and love it. And I got this time on a plane, but same idea. I got on a plane to come here because in the interview process, I felt and knew, it wasn't just a feeling, I knew that I was surrounded by people who want to be so extraordinarily great and forward thinking and do this in a smart, analytical way that is just beyond the scope of anything I would have expected in terms of what they also want from their television announcer. They want somebody who's going to think about the game from all facets. They want somebody who is going to have a good time every once in a while, whose dad jokes will be terrible infrequently. No, sorry, check that, frequently. They want somebody who's they wanted me and I wanted them just as much because of, number one, how they feel about moving forward and what this franchise wants to do in terms of just intelligent baseball, but also a fan base. And I love the fans in Chicago. I have a very deep respect and care for their passion and their heart, and they have shared things with me that are just beyond the scope of anything I ever would have expected. But there are fans here that want to win badly, and they want to enjoy winning. And that is a challenge and a surrounding area that feels a lot like something I did that was one of the greatest decisions of my life 20 years ago. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Welcome, man. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
These dad jokes you speak of, what are those exactly? I wouldn't have any idea.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kidding, Jason.
I have a friend who says to me, if words didn't have multiple definitions, you wouldn't be funny at all. And so that's what we're talking about here.
Thanks, Chris. We'll go next to Cody Stavenhagen from The Athletic.
Hi, Jason. Welcome to Detroit. If you were to have left the White Sox, did you ever envision it being for another baseball team, another local job?
So it's interesting. Like, people have asked me over the course of the last 7 or 8 years what I want in my career. And the answer they expect is going to be like, to call the Super Bowl. Why not? Right? Like, that's what everybody should want to do. To call the World Series. Why not? The biggest events, right? I love creative people. I love being surrounded by creative people. And I envision my life being that. And I don't want you to take this answer as anything like a knock on the White Sox, because I do know that part of the reason the Tigers were interested in me is because our production team in Chicago is so bang up good. Our producer, Chris Withers, our director is Dave Turner and Andrew Blaustein, like Chris Kamka, our graphics guy, you can follow on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it now. Like they are marvelous people who are always full of surprises. And so, yeah, it's really tough to leave them. But I know here in Detroit from all the conversations we've had that they want to put together a telecast that is phenomenal. And that's not just my seat, right? That's every chair having to do with the telecast. They care about it deeply. And again, I don't want that to sound at all like the White Sox didn't, because I do need to say first, and I should have said this first, but the White Sox hired me. The White Sox hired me, a person who doesn't walk normally, to be the front facing person in their organization in 2016. And the only reason I'm here is because of them. And so like I know what people might say about me leaving and all of that. But the White Sox didn't have to grant permission for me to have this opportunity either. And there are a lot of great people there that I care about deeply. And so, you know, that's not any of this that I'm saying about the Tigers is not a reflection of the White Sox or the production team or anything, because Steve Stone is a tremendous partner. And, you know, Chuck Garfien and Ozzie Guillen and Frank Thomas are insane in the studio. And I love cross talking with them. There are a lot of things that I'll miss, but I'm here because, you know, did I imagine that it would be another local job? I just imagined working with people who are like-minded about the creative process. And now I sound a little bit like a GM. So if I start talking about assets and tradability and stuff like that, like, please just say, hey, I didn't know we were talking to LinkedIn right now. But I do care about creativity deeply. And the warmth that everybody here showed me matters to me.
All right. Thank you, Jason.
Did I answer your question? I hope I did.
Yeah, I guess to follow up on that, what do you enjoy about being a day-to-day play-by-play guy for a baseball team?
Yeah, it's like doing a crossword puzzle every day. Like there's a solution and it's different every day. And the bonds you form with people who care so deeply. Like I have friends that I've met on White Sox Twitter that I will be friends with forever. And that is such a cool thing. People care so deeply about this franchise and they want to win so badly. And I love the ability to bring something different into their house every day. Like here's what I love about a baseball telecast. I love nailing the big moment as a group, but I also love like when those rogue people in row 22 went and stole a large bag of popcorn from the concession stand and we do like a 3-act play about it. Like that happened in Chicago. These people had this giant, like oversized Costco popcorn. We showed them. They got friends because people were like coming over and sharing the potluck popcorn. And then security came and took it away. And I was like, oh man, that's terrible. But the stuff you see around the ballpark, I love that. It enlivens my mind.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Cody. We'll go next, Evan Petzold from the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Jason, welcome and congrats.
Thanks, Evan.
Curious, you mentioned fans really wanting a winner here in Detroit. What have you seen from the American League Central over your years? But then also, what did you see from the 2023 Tigers, and what do you think about where they're going in 2024 and beyond on the field specifically?
What do you think of the American League Central? I've only seen 2 of the 5 cities now close up. No, look, I think we all know that the American League Central has been the land of opportunity, just in terms of winning record of the division, right? And I think the Tigers are on the move upward. Clearly, the Twins had a much better season. You know, the White Sox, I'm very interested to see what the roster looks like next year. The Royals have a ton of young talent. So and Cleveland just hired Stephen Vogt, who I know is renowned as a great thinker of the game of baseball. So look, I'm excited because I do know it's not like being in the American League East. It just hasn't been that of recent memory. But with this Tigers team, every time we had the Tigers, whether it was with the White Sox or Fox, like there was an aura, there was an energy. And I sensed that with Baltimore a couple years ago. And I think a number of people who saw the Orioles play, like I'm not the only person who saw that, but there was a fun building. And there's a belief, even though, you know, they didn't finish in first in the American League Central, I felt like the Tigers got almost as much out of their roster as any team in Major League Baseball last year. I've always had great respect for AJ Hinch and the job that he does, and you know, like Scott Harris and Jeff, and evidently like Chicago to Detroit is a pipeline now. I don't know, but I really do think this is a team that's getting a lot out of its roster already, and I'm hyper interested to see where the roster goes now with a team that already was, you know, to me, playing chess.
For sure. Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
For sure. Thank you, Evan.
Thanks, Evan. We'll go next to Brad Galley from Channel 7.
Jason, I feel a bit like Chris Farley in the old SNL sketch, just to kind of say I'm a big fan and nothing else to follow up on.
Yeah, do you want me to do like a Paul McCartney impression or something like that? You remember the time that we were on Zoom together?
I used to tweet about you when you,
Thing?
but I did cook up a question or two.
Good. All right.
Yeah. Detroit athletes, growing up, is there anybody that sticks out to you as somebody from a distance that you admired, somebody you're excited to see in this community, somebody that when this job popped up, you go, oh, wait, that was the guy?
Yeah, I mean, those Red Wings teams were so good, like the Sergei Fedorov, Steve Yzerman, Dino Ciccarelli, Mike Vernon, like those teams were obviously great. Like, I'm not the biggest hockey fan in the world, but I love going to playoff hockey specifically. And I, as you saw by who I listed, I played a ton of NHL 94 growing up. So like, man, do I have that on lock. But, you know, I today I woke up this morning, no joke, and the first name in my mind was Maglio Ordonez.
Wow.
Because when Maglio Ordonez left Chicago to go to Detroit, I was like, what did he do? And like, I today feel very like I am some combination of that and emotionally Freddie Freeman. That's how I feel. Right. And after like 6 months, people were like, Freddie, stop talking about Atlanta. I'm never going to not have Chicago in my heart because I love it. But like, I love the people that brought me here. And I know like the sensibility of Detroit, like, I know we're going to get along well.
I'll ask you.
You can see, right? You can see the passion and you can see the care. And this is from a distance, right? And so I don't want to make a generalization, but part of my life has been, I am somebody who does not walk like the average human being. I have an eye that drifts. I have cerebral palsy. Like, that is part of me, right? And I quite often get reactions that are not completely representative of who I am as a full person, right? I'm physically different, but mentally I can hold a conversation. And so I do think I get, I guess you would say, underestimated sometimes. And not to say it with a chip on my shoulder, but that's just the way life works. Like, sometimes people think I can't do stuff. And from a distance, again, gross generalization alarm going off, but from a distance, I think that's how Detroit gets treated. I think quite often Detroit is not known for its passionate fans or what it's done for the music industry. I think people reduce Detroit to a couple of statistics. And I don't like seeing people and a whole place get reduced to anything. And I know how much people care. And I know like how much people here want to just matter and be seen for what they are and not some overgeneralization. So to me, as I've thought about this, like, that is where we link up. And that is why, you know, they'll make the decision on me. Like, I can't say we're going to be the best of friends right away because that's super presumptuous of me. But that's where I think Detroit and I really get along.
If you were going to make a move like this, was it going to have to be in the Midwest? And I shouldn't say was it going to happen.
Because of the people.
If I can follow up on that, Jason, you are catching a team on the ascent. And again, maybe you haven't probably researched ratings, but during the heyday, and that's oftentimes the case here, the team has to be pretty bad in order for the TV ratings not to be fairly spectacular compared with the per capita number across the league. I wondered if any of that really weighed on your decision here to the extent to which you could reveal that.
Yeah, the ratings numbers are not something that I learned about Nielsen ratings in college and their positives and their negatives. And like, I care much more about how much love the city has for the team in human emotional terms. And that, I have a number of friends from college and from mutual friends over the course of time. One of them actually is the radio voice of the Raiders, Jason Horowitz, who grew up here in Bloomfield Hills. And I've gotten to know fandom through rooming with him in college. He was a he was a mess when the Lions and Tiger, like when it was bad, like he was not happy. It hit him in the same way that it hit me growing up in Chicago. And so I'm grateful to be part of a place where the numbers are what you're describing, Lynn, but like the heart of it matters much more to me.
Thanks again for the reflections and for the responses today, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn. We'll go next to Scott Merkin from MLB.com.
Hey, Jason, how's it going?
Merk, how are you?
Good. I know this is about the new job in Detroit today, but can you speak to something that not everyone gets a chance to do in their life? And that's, you got to live your dream job, right? You grew up as a White Sox fan. And what was that like, even though you're moving on to other things now? What was that like to be able to go through that?
Well, Merk, you're tugging on my heartstrings, and I will always appreciate that of you. And look, the first White Sox game I did was a Tigers White Sox game. And when Avi Garcia homered, noted immaculate grid participant Avi Garcia in this quote unquote rivalry, right? I felt it emotionally. And that day, a number of my friends and family were in a suite, and the White Sox did everything they could to make it matter. And I will always appreciate that and everything that Chicago means and that fan base. It is trite to say there's a place in my heart, but Merk, like in 2020, when we were all separate, pandemic, I was living it as everybody else was. And I was sitting at home alone, and I felt separate from the world. And, in this silly job that we have, you get to talk to people every day. And I didn't have that. And I didn't have that connection. And so I asked Sox fans and just people on Twitter to send me their messages to their family members or friends, and I'd read them, right? And I did, and it helped me as much as I think it helped everybody else. And some of the stuff that Sox fans and the deep, caring sentiment that Sox fans shared with me those months, it was every night I would do one, and there were some that I didn't get to, but the ones that we did like matter deeply to me. And I just found out then that this is not a job that is just a sports announcer. This is somebody who is part of your world, part of your life on a daily basis. And the things that people shared from so deep in the recesses of their hearts, I will never forget. And I am so grateful to Jerry Reinsdorf, Brooks Boyer, Scott Reifert, I can't list everybody. It would take a long time, but that whole organization has done so much for me in my life and my career. And to have been home and do that is the chance of a lifetime. But the only way that you get to be fulfilled in this world is to take on new challenges as well. Not that this is a challenge, but this is something that's different for me. But there is a corner of my heart that this was really hard. I mean, I don't want to check the number right now. It's rude to look at the phone while somebody's asking you a question, but it's like over 200 texts. And I'm just honored,
Thanks, Jason. Good luck with everything. Appreciate all your time over the years.
Thanks, Merck. What do you got? Michigan, Penn State coming up Saturday. How you feeling?
Well, Michigan obviously is going to win.
Yeah, but how are you feeling? I know this is like, oh, it kind of roils in your stomach there. Like I know that's a thing for you.
I don't want to take away from the call here. We can talk about that.
I would really like to.
Thanks, Mark. We'll go next to
Thank you.
We'll go next to Jeff Seidel from the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, thanks for doing this. And I apologize about my camera not working. I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
A question for Ryan. I just wondered, first of all, do you know who he'll be paired with, those plans, and also Dickerson's role in this?
Yeah, a couple things. I'll talk to your first question first, which is we're currently working through sort of our plans around like how to pair Jason with the right group of people in order to maximize the broadcast for our fans, and we'll be making some announcements as we get closer to opening day on that front. So yeah, I mean it's an ongoing thing, but our goal really is to focus on getting the best broadcast possible, and having Jason be a part of that process on defining what it looks like, and we're excited about what that's going to look like come opening day. Could you remind me the second part of your question?
Dan, I assume I talked to him in the past, and he's like, he didn't love the idea of going to TV, but I assume he's part of the equation being able to get him.
Yeah, of course. So Dan will be doing the balance of the games on television. We've been having conversations with him for a number of months now since we started thinking about this process. Dan is incredibly excited for it. I think, he sees our vision as an organization of taking our broadcast to a new level. That's our most important touch point with our fans. Dan's beloved in the market, and we're excited for him to step into that role when Jason's away doing national games. We're grateful that he's willing to do it, and I think our fans are excited about it too. So I generally think that our vision for how we've laid this out has made Dan really excited about this opportunity because we want to build something really special with our broadcast.
And if I could follow up, I assume that this was almost a swing for the fences type going after Jason. And I wonder how it all came together from your side, from your perspective.
Yeah, a couple of things. We were looking for somebody, obviously, who can take our broadcast to the next level. Jason's a world-class talent. There's no doubt about that. We have the utmost respect for everything that he brings to our broadcast, and that's the easy sort of obvious part of this. The second piece is it was really important to Chris Illich, Scott Harris, myself, and everyone involved to find the right culture fit. Jason and all of us share this like relentless desire to be great, to build something special. And you see it in everything we're doing as an organization right now. We're building something incredible. We're getting better every day. The fact that Jason, is leaving the environment that he was in, his hometown, to come here shows that. We couldn't be more excited about the future for the Tigers organization, and finding somebody who is not only just a talent to call games, but somebody who fits that cultural desire to achieve excellence is something that was like the most important part of the process for us. And we found the absolute right fit in Jason.
Cool. Thank you.
Jeff, we have time for a couple more. We'll go back to Evan Petzold.
Yeah, Jason, quick follow-up for you. Kind of what's your game plan from now until opening day? Like what all goes into it? Obviously, I know you had national assignments to do, but you got to like find a house, learn the roster. Like, I don't know, like what all goes into it from now until opening day?
What I heard was, Jason, this isn't overwhelming enough for you today. Let me add to it. Thanks, Evan. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
No, I look, it's calling baseball is a everyday job. Like keeping up with the team is an everyday job. I'm big on timers. I am big on like 30 minutes, turn off your phone, do this thing right in front of you, right? So short term, it's go even deeper than I have before on the Tigers roster, but just kind of like the good news is I have a 5-hour flight to Seattle after this and a couple other things today that I can respond to all the people that think I'm a jerk for not responding yet. I need you to understand that when I'm answering this, I have to take this one step at a time, but it's about gathering everything I can to be ready for the Tigers season and finding a place to live and everything that goes along with that. But that is down the road to treating the people that matter most to me today with the respect that they deserve, and making sure that that is on an honorable human level what matters today. And I know that's not a full answer to your question, but it's about when I'm preparing for games that I'm doing nationally, I'm doing that. And when I'm doing the Tigers, I'm doing that. And, I went to law school. I was doing games back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. And I always said, like, I'm not going to use either as an excuse for each other. Like it has to matter. Like it's the only thing in the world when I'm doing it. And that's what I'm here to do. But like, yeah, today, I need today to be today because it is, it's a lot.
Totally understand. Thank you so much and excited to have you.
Thank you. Do you have any further questions to emotionally tug on my ability to navigate the world?
No, I think I'm all good. Thank you though.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Evan. I appreciate it.
7, and we'll wrap it up with Rod Maloney from Channel 4.
Yes, good afternoon, Jason. Your answers have been as smart as your commentary on TV, which is impressive, which is obviously why they want you. I guess I want to go back and revisit the whole point of getting you here. You had your dream job. Detroit offers you this one. What is it? What was it that put it over, that gave you the reason to say, okay, yes, I can do this. I want to do this. And is it tied to that whole notion of the culture to be great?
It is. I mean, that is literally, if you ask any of my friends who've known me the longest, anybody who knows me in that way, they know that I want to be around people who care about details, who care about loving what they do, who want to dive into the detail of what they're doing. Like, here's how I grew up as an announcer. WAER Syracuse is the college radio station at Syracuse University. And when you're a freshman there, you do weekly one sportscast and you hand it to an upperclassman and they tell you what needs to get better. And you go back and you do it again. And then they tell you what needs to get better. And then some of you get cleared for air and some of you don't. And then you do the same thing with play-by-play. So I come from a place that is all about getting better each time you do it. And I also come from a place of like, I don't want to be dark here, but like I grew up spending some time in surgery and hospitals and all that stuff, right? I'm not that person anymore. I don't have medical challenges in that way, thankfully. But I also I want to have fun. And everybody here wants to have fun with baseball. Like, one of my favorite memories with the White Sox of doing the telecast is our director, Todd Benjaminson, at the time, who now does some other work, but is fantastic. He was like, you know what? What if you and Stoney did the open on the carousel at Comerica Park? And we're like, what? And he said, yeah, you ride the carousel. So they brought out a camera, and here are Stoney and me on 2 horses and the merry-go-round at Comerica Park. He's in his 70s. I don't walk great. And we're just bopping up and down and smiling and doing the open. Like, yeah, when it's 9-8 in the 10th inning, we're not doing that. We're locked on the game. But it's 162 games. It's every day. There are people here who want to be detailed and want to be great and want to do all those things that you have to hear, but they also want to have fun. And they appreciate that and love that. And what they wanted in an announcer is what I fancy myself as. And that, to me, you can't say no when somebody's ideals are so locked in with yours. And that, again, people might take that as something about the White Sox. It's not. It's just that, sometimes you show up at a place and you say, oh my gosh, this is right. And I can't believe it's right because I'm leaving home, please don't underestimate how much I have to feel this to leave there.
All right. Looks like the last question we have. Jason, thanks again for the time. Ryan as well. Thank you for the time today. We appreciate everybody else joining us, and we'll see everybody soon.